Live now to Sky's chief election analyst Tom Connell for those latest numbers. Tom, what are you seeing? A swing to the LNP?
Yeah, and it's only getting stronger. Look, we called the election when I last spoke to you because we had the results coming in so far on two-party preferred, and the primary was even stronger in those other booths, and that's why we've seen that margin on your screen there increase on two-party preferred. Look, Fadden was surrounded by blue. This was the result we were expecting, but it is looking like a strong result so far. 17% counted. Let's go to percentages. Bit of a story to tell here as well. United Australia Party are not running. There's also an independent, Jeremy Brooker, who ran strongly last time and not much this time. So there's about 10% there or so of vote lost. The question was always going to be, where did that 10% go? That's what's been interesting here, because nearly 5% so far to Cameron Caldwell. Labor, despite all that vote to pick up theoretically, isn't making ground. And then you can see, yes, some's going to the legalised cannabis party, but it's also picking ground up off the Greens. That's quite a poor showing from the Greens in this. So that's a bit of the story of the primary. And obviously you're seeing Cameron Caldwell tick up. And that will get a lot higher, that 45% there. That's a raw number. That will get a lot higher with postal votes. We're hearing postal is an 8, 9, 10% primary swing towards the LNP. So Cameron Caldwell is going to win this seat easily. On two-party preferred right now, you can see it's even 3% swing towards the LNP. That's what we've got so far. But as I said, the postal scrutiny information, we're not expecting that to drop tonight, but we're expecting that to go even more strongly towards the LNP. Jim Chalmers said 4%. Would be a good result. So far it's 3 and it could go a bit higher. So we'll keep watching as the really big booths come in, and that could change the situation a little bit. But so far looking like a decent swing towards the LNP, away from the government, which is, of course, the more common thing to happen in by-elections compared to that Aston result last time.
What about that, Tom? Jim Chalmers sets the bar and the LNP leaps over it. So there's sometimes a lesson there in setting a bar. Thanks for that. We'll talk to you soon. Well, let's go back to our panel now. We've got Murray Watt and Karen Andrews. Murray Watt conceding defeat with Letitia Del Fabro there. Murray, Tom Connell just suggesting there that at 4% number that Jim Chalmers was nominating as an acceptable result for Peter Dutton, that it looks likely now. What's your reaction to that?
Well, that's what we expected. It looks to me like we're going to end up with a result very much within Labor's expectations. We've always expected, and Jim made the point today, that we would see a swing to the LNP, as you typically do in federal by-elections. The latest figures that we're getting from booths indicate that there's been a fairly small swing to the LNP on the primary vote, not even as high as 4%. And there's been a very small swing against the government and Labor on the primary vote. So, frankly, I'm pretty okay with that result, because it was basically exactly what we expected.
James McGrath, Murray Watt is saying he's okay with the result. What do you make of that?
Oh, there's lies, damn lies, and anything that Murray Watt says when it comes to talking about elections. Murray Watt has spent the previous segment setting all these expectations that he's pulled out of nowhere. We're going to exceed them. You can hear behind me, there's a lot of very happy LNP people here at the Seagulls, because they know this result shows that what Ben Riley and Andrew Hurst and Peter Dutton have done in terms of bring together the campaign strategy has worked. We've focused on the issues that actually are relevant to the people of Fadden, whereas Labor just wanted to talk about robo-debt and Stuart Robert. And Anthony Chisholm, by the way, said he wanted to remind people about the previous coalition government. Stop playing politics and focus on helping people who are fighting cost of living. Help people. Stop playing politics. Why can't Labor get that simple truism?
All right, this is some spin, well, maybe not. There's some facts and some spin in here that I'm receiving now. I'm going to put this to Anthony Chisholm. Postal returns are showing a 10% primary vote swing to the LNP, 61%. You might say, so what? Well, it's been pointed out to me the postal vote application letter was from Peter Dutton. So a lot of talk from you and Murray Watt earlier that Peter Dutton was nowhere to be seen in this campaign. He does seem, in terms of the postal vote anyway, to have been a positive in this election. Isn't it a fact, Anthony Chisholm, that by Labor running in this electorate, you've given Peter Dutton a boost? You put him back on the road, a road that he wasn't on after the Aston by-election.
Well, it was pretty evident today, Andrew, that he was nowhere to be seen on the booths here today. Didn't feature on any election materials on the day. Wasn't seen hanging the ad anywhere, and I didn't hear any LNP members mentioning him. They focused on Mr Caldwell, I think, which was obviously a smart thing to do given he was a sitting councillor with a profile. But I saw no evidence that they thought that Mr Dutton was a positive to their campaign at all today. If he was, I'm sure he would have featured on the day. He was nowhere to be seen.
Karen Andrews, what do you make of that? Do you think Peter Dutton was a net positive? Do you think he's got a better chance in Queensland than Scott Morrison?
Look, I think clearly Peter Dutton was a net positive to the campaign, but there were a lot of factors that have led to the results that we are seeing come in tonight. Peter Dutton was on the coast, he was campaigning in Fadden right from the get-go. So clearly he had a big influence on what we're seeing coming through results-wise. We also had a very good campaign run by our Federal Secretariat, our state campaign teams, and on the ground, the people in Fadden supported the LNP like they haven't for quite some time. So that's fantastic to see. I think there are some messages there. And look, I understand that right at the beginning of the campaign, Labor would want to set some what they would think were unrealistic targets for us to meet. It seems that we have met what they've been predicting, and that we have done that reasonably convincingly. So that's a very positive thing for us. I was actually surprised that Labor ran a candidate in Fadden. I thought that they would have not bothered to put a candidate in, and they just would have let things go. But what they did do was they put the same candidate in as they had last time, so someone who had some name ID in Fadden. They put in a lot of resources. Pre-poll was very well manned by Labor, which it's not always been in the past. Polling booths were well manned today. They put a lot into this campaign. So I would think that the results that they're seeing are very, very different to what their expectations were going to be. So I think it shows that there is support for the Liberal National Party here on the Gold Coast, that Peter Dutton is very well supported. And I think it sends a message to Labor that they cannot constantly keep criticising the former government, because people are now looking at their policies and their lack of ability to deliver. So it really is time for Labor to start stumping up federally.